Good. Thank you. Thank you, Chef Fols, Mr. Mayor, and distinguished visitors all. We are honoring our Lord in His Blessed Sacrament, but we cannot at the same time ignore the feast tomorrow, beginning this evening, of the Assumption of Our Lady who enjoys many titles, but one of them most especially is Our Lady of the Eucharist. And I would like to share with you some reflection on the Assumption and its significance for the French-speaking and French descendants of the area, and those who by adoption are French because they live in Louisiana. From this day, all generations will call me blessed. These are Mary's words, themselves taken from the Gospel of St. Luke. The Acadians and Our Lady of the Assumption are linked inseparably in a guardian knot whose interweaving is bonded by their history, their faith, their destiny. From the days of King Louis XIV, who offered thanks to the intercession of Our Lady of the Assumption for the birth of an heir to the throne of France, to Pius XI, who named Mary under this title of the Assumption, as patroness of the Acadian peoples. The early French settlers of Acadie and all of southwest Louisiana, down to their descendants in the 21st century, have been profoundly aware of the link between the Mother of God and the people that belong to her. When speaking of Mary's Assumption, the Second Vatican Council had plenty to say, and it placed the doctrine of the Assumption in the context of Mary as the model of the Church. And this is what the Council said, and I quote, "In the Most Holy Virgin, the Church has already reached that perfection whereby she exists without spot or wrinkle. In the bodily and spiritual glory which she possesses in heaven, the Mother of Jesus continues in this present world as the image of the first flowering of the Church as it is perfected in the world to come." End of quote. Like the Acadians, the Church is a pilgrim people, and Mary is the guide for these pilgrim people. The descendants of the first settlers of Acadia and South Louisiana could ask then, where does Mary lead us as a people and as a church? The story is told, and I've heard this story recounted as a priest. I've been a priest almost 50 years, and I've heard this story over and over again from different people at different times from the beginning of my priesthood, and I share it with you. The story is told of an old Acadian woman who was asked one day by a visitor how she survived. She had seen many of her children die of disease, and through sweat and tears, she had built up a farm with her husband in the cruel heat and humidity of Louisiana, which we're enjoying this afternoon. The relentless threat of hurricanes and storms and the constant onslaught of plagues and misfortune, how had she survived? Her answer was simple. She said, "I have faith." The visitor was puzzled, so asked, "But you don't even know how to read or write?" At that point, she reached into her pocket and pulled out her rosary and showed him that. The Acadians, the French, those of that culture and those influenced greatly by that culture, wherever they are, have done more than just survive. With their joie de vivre, coming from a genuine heart of faith, they have built up a society that does more than survive, it thrives. At the foundation of this society, its schools, its sense of family, and all its institutions and industry, lies the faith that makes it all possible. The evidence of this faith is seen most conspicuously, I think, in the rosary that fell from the side of the old lady. Mary leads us home. Mary teaches us with her assumption that we are on a journey, like the passage of the flotilla on the river this afternoon. If the Acadians understand anything, they understand this. The talk of perfect worlds promoted by a materialistic culture and brought about by advances in technology and science fall on realistic ears of the true Acadian. Taught by experience of hardship, the Acadians have learned the message of life conveyed to Mary. Mary has instructed us on how to live and instructed us that life is a journey that really never ends. Mary's assumption has given the Acadian people and gives us still hope of that, the life to come. If the assumption teaches anything at all, it is that life is fulfilled in perfection, that the difficulties of this world will come to an end, and that Mary will lead the way and greet us in heaven. If the Acadian people cannot identify with this image, if we cannot identify with this image, then we are at risk. Like the Hebrews in the desert, the Acadians and all of us are exiled. But Mary is our ark, leading us back over and over and over again to God and His love. Like the woman of the Apocalypse in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, they enter a desert, but only for a while. Mary waits to lead them home. When I went to the seminary in the 1960s, we learned French. Of course, we heard French being spoken at home. I learned French from my parents. But there was an old prayer composed by the rector of our seminary, founded by Bishop Jamard, the first bishop of Lafayette, and he expressed it this way. The prayer is in French, and that will lead me into my little discourse in French. Notre-Dame, chère reine de Bayou, mère des gens acadiennes, garde toujours, mère de Jésus, notre sainte foi ancienne. Soyez notre guide, Marie, dirigez-nous par Dieu. Soyez notre douce souveraine, sur cette terre et dans les cieux, en douleur et en souffrance. Nos pères, vous avez recours, tendre mère de ces exiles, leur enfant gardez toujours. Notre-Dame, chère reine de Bayou, conduisez-nous à Jésus, au ciel, notre patrie, que nous soyons avec vous. Les Acadiens de Notre-Dame de l'Assomption sont liés dans une nœud gardienne tel que le tissage est évalué par leur histoire, leur foi et leur destin. Depuis le règne de Louis XIV, qui offrit, grâce à l'intervention de Notre-Dame de l'Assomption, pour la naissance d'un héritier au trône, au pontificat de Pie XI, qui nomma Marie sainte patronne des Acadiens, les premiers émigrants français d'Acadie, jusqu'à leurs descendants du XXe siècle, sont restés profondément marqués par le lien entre le Mère de Dieu et le peuple que c'est sous sa protection. En parlant de l'Assomption, le Concile Vatican II mettait une considération de la doctrine à propos de Marie comme un modèle de l'Église. Le Concile dit, avec les très saintes vierges, l'Église est parvenue à cette perfection dans laquelle Marie se trouve, sans tache ou défaut, dans une gloire corporelle et spirituelle, laquelle la Mère de Jésus possède au ciel. Elle reste pour le monde présente comme l'image de la première floraison de l'Église dans sa perfection dans l'autre monde. Les Acadiens sont également comme l'Église, un peuple en pèlerinage, et Marie est le guide. Les descendants des premières Acadiennes peuvent demander « En quel endroit nous conduit-elle, Marie ?» Voici l'histoire d'une vieille dame acadienne qui a un visiteur demandé un jour comment elle a survécu. Elle qui a vu beaucoup de souffrance, beaucoup d'ouvrage, des enfants mourir en bas d'âge, et qui a bâti avec Marie son mari une ferme au prix de sœurs et de dames. Sous l'hostile chaleur de la Louisiane, la menace implacable des ouragans et des tempêtes, ainsi que les assauts répétés des fleuves et autres malheurs, qu'ont-elles survécu? Sa réponse, grâce à sa foi. Le visiteur restait intrigue. Mais vous ne savez pas même lire et écrire. Et la vieille dame sortit alors un chapelet de sa poche et le serra dans la main flétrie. Ce fut sa réponse. Les Acadiens, n'importe où ils ont habité, ont fait plus que purement survivre avec leur joie de vivre qui vient d'un cœur de la foi. Ils ont façonné une société qui fait plus que survivre. Ils prospèrent. À la racine de cette société, de ces écoles, ces familles et ces institutions et ces industries reste la foi qui fait tout possible. L'évidence de cette foi est le chapelet que la vieille Acadienne tenait dans la main. Marie nous-mêmes chez nous, Marie, par son Assomption, nous instruit que nous sommes en voyage. Plus que toute chose, les Acadiens comprendront ceci. Les promesses de monde parfait engendrent par les avancées technologiques et scientifiques ne touchent pas l'authentique Acadien. Fort d'expériences acquises par les luttes incessantes contre les difficultés de la vie, l'Acadien a appris de la véracité de ce message de vie transmis par Marie. Marie a guidé les Acadiens sur le chemin de la vie, et la vie est un voyage avec un bout. L'Assomption de Marie donne aux Acadiens un espoir d'attendre ce bout. Si l'Assomption doit nous apprendre quelque chose, c'est que la vie recèle une potentielle perfection. C'est les difficultés de ce monde parviendront un jour à leur terme et que Marie nous en montre le chemin. Pour un Acadien, pour un descendant de l'ancienne Louisiane, l'absence d'identification à cette image correspond à une négation de soi, comme les Hébreux dans le désert. Les Acadiens ont été exilés, mais Marie était leur arche. montrant à eux le chemin à Dieu et son Fils et son amour. Comme la femme de l'Acropolis, ils sont entrés dans un désert, mais seulement pour un instant. Marie attend pour les accueillir avec joie. It's been a pleasure to be with you this afternoon and to share this little brief reflection with you on the Lady of the Assumption. I'm a firm believer, and I have been all my life, that if we forget our tradition and our history, we forget everything. And so we need to be in touch. And one way, and a very primary way, is by the faith that we share in common, a faith with Mary herself. God bless all of you. Thank you.